You want me to fix my computer? I think it's all okay. Go for it.
Yeah, I think it's good. So just waiting for the notifications that we're live. If you can see us, hear us, leave a comment, let us know where you're joining us from. Okay, we're live on YouTube, live on Facebook, and LinkedIn. Awesome. Oh my God, we had a little technical challenge starting out. So yeah, that kind of took us back about 8 minutes. But yeah, have you here. Let me wait for the first few comments to ensure everyone can see us, hear us.
Okay.
You can see us, hear us. Please leave a comment. Let us know where you are joining us from this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Okay, Victoria from Ontario, thank you. You can see us and you can hear us. Fantastic. So let's get to it. Today I'm talking with Sowmya. Interesting how how all this started. It started out with basically chatting, and then we're talking about business analysis, and like everybody's a business analyst, really. Everyone is a business analyst. So, you know what? That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that
So,
is very cool.
with me, as I introduced you, he has lots of years of experience in business analysis, and now, as a data maven, as a data professional, data governance is somewhat his specialty right now. So somebody's going to be speaking with us about this topic that everyone is a business analyst, and he has a lot of fun things he's going to share with us to kind of enlighten us about business analysis. So he's someone who's passionate about business analysis, just like me. So this is going to be a fun conversation. So Sowmya, thank you for joining us today. So can you please introduce yourself to this beautiful audience around the world?
Great. Thank you, Ina, for having me here. And hello, everyone, and good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are, or good morning. All right, great. First of all, as the title says, everybody is a business analyst. I believe in it, right? That's why I say it, because now when we perform business analysis, it's just nothing but talking to people and making sure their needs have been met in a right way. As simple as that. And if you remember, probably in the good old days, we all were kids and we wanted to have that one dessert, but our parents were probably not giving you that ice cream you wanted, or they might be giving you something else, right? So that's where your need or your requirement starts from. Now all we tell them is, hey, this is what I want. Can you give me the same thing back, right? So that's why I call now we're all analysts.
Yeah.
When I say analysts, it's just nothing but we tell what our needs are, and you cannot voice it out. So at times, we end up documenting them. That's where the stories of your BRDs and your FSDs and your user stories will come into the play.
Yeah.
Eventually, we try to get what we want, right?
Yeah.
Either you cry or you dance, when you were a kid. So that's how when I used to get it. If my parents don't give me what I want, I cry.
Of course.
I cry, right? And then at one stage, they were saturated. Okay, take it back. Now these are all you need. Take it. But it works in a different fashion in IT. Understand, apply the same common sense principle. So we have business partners. They have needs, and we are analysts. We understand their needs, and we have our technology teams who know how to implement those needs. And then we speak with business, we get the needs in the form of requirements, and we talk to our technology stakeholders, we get it delivered. That's all we do as an analyst.
So,
and if you go ahead,
so simple.
Very simple, yeah. Like I said, a business analysis job is all about common sense. It's all about speaking right acumen, talking to people. If you're someone who love to speak with people, you are good at documentation, and if you have a pinch of patience, this is the job for you.
This is the job for you. So
Yeah.
if you like to talk to people, you like to document things, and you have a little bit of teeny bit of patience, then this is a job for you.
Exactly. Now that's how I see things, right? So that's how I've grown. I never wanted to become a BA. I think I told you earlier, I'm an accidental business analyst.
Yes.
The reason I say accidental business analyst, now I was, my career graph is different, right? So right after my engineering days, I want to get into movies. I want to write for some of the directors back in where I'm from. I'm originally from India. So now I want to work with some directors and write some stuff. But
Yeah.
later into that, in 6 months, I realized, that's not my place to park my car. So I want to come out of it, and I want to do something different than what my classmates or what my colleagues were doing. And again, like I said, I was not a typical developer. I did not have the technology expertise when I first started, like back in 2006 and 7. Then I thought, what is that one thing I can do? I'm keep exploring opportunities. Then a good friend of mine suggested, Sowmya, you can be a good analyst. So the only question I asked her is, what do analysts do? She said the same thing what I told you. They write and they talk. I was like, yes, 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 that is a job for me. So
Yeah.
I went for an interview. I was fortunate enough. My very first interview I have ever given in my life was with a firm called Countrywide Financial Corporation. Later, Bank of America acquired back in 2008, and
Yeah.
we changed the name to Bank of America Home Loans. So that's how my journey started as a business analyst, right? So, and then the rest is history for me. And I've been worked for a variety of firms since then. I played analyst roles. I worked as a process reengineering specialist. I worked as a business analyst, and then I worked as a senior BA. I worked as a BA manager. But over the period of time, when I was exploring all these things, and even though I'm performing business analysis, that is something like a base for a specific analyst, right? So I ventured into the data management space, and then I've become a data governance specialist. I worked on products like Calibra, Informatica, Alation, etc. But still, I go back to my good old days. If I have not have done the business analysis work in the past, I would have not been a successful data governance specialist today. So I strongly emphasize on the skill set, on the work we do as an analyst, because that is what going to be a foundation for your career.
Okay. All right. So, some people will be saying, "Oh, well, you have an engineering degree, so you're already analytical because of the way you're taught to think as an engineer. So you're sort of analytical. Maybe that's not me because I don't have an engineering degree. So
Huh?
maybe I'm not a business analyst."
Yes, my question is again. You answered the question itself in your statement.
Yeah.
So you have an engineering degree, and then you might not be an analytical. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the question? I'm not great at analytical stuff, but can I be a
Yeah,
business
I
analyst?
have an engineering degree. So how can I be a business analyst? I
Give
mean,
me an example. I'm an engineer by education, and I have my bachelor's in electronics and communications.
yeah,
Then no, but it's just a passion that I would like to write, and then I love talking to people.
yeah,
When you have those attributes, right? That's what the foundation for a typical business analyst. So if
yeah,
you can understand a need, right? So think about this, right? A best example I can always tell you is, if you can handle a 5-year-old, and if you can understand what they want, right, in their whatever the language they are in, and if
yeah,
you can cater to those needs,
yeah,
you can be a great BA. It's just about your passion, the amount of time you invest into it, and the most important thing I've seen in some of your previous interviews, learning the business acumen is very important, right?
true.
Because when you speak, you cannot certainly speak in the same old language. You certainly have to speak with the people or your managers or your business teams in their own language, right?
Yeah,
So that language is what our business acumen is all about. A minute ago, I was talking about BRDs, FRDs, and user stories. And if you don't know what they are, you have to learn what they are, and then yes, you can practice them, and you can practice more, write more use cases for all your web application functionality,
yeah,
and talk to people. The best way to get feedback is talk to your friends, talk to your family, Give them that one pager you have written, give it to them. Hey, can you make any sense out of it? If they say yes, you are a great BA.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you made it so simple that anyone feels okay. Is it just so as a BA, I just have to write and talk,
Mm-hmm.
right? Be able to write and talk. Um,
With a clause that you learn the business acumen in the right way.
yeah. So when you have the business acumen, really understanding, what are the key drivers for the business, internally and externally, what influences the business, who are our competitors, who are our suppliers, what are our core value add, all those things.
Okay.
However, when it comes to the technical part of things,
Mm-hmm.
that's what scares a lot of people, right? You see some job descriptions these days, and so you look at it and you're like, wow, how many people are they looking for in one person,
Right.
right? In regards to the technical things that companies are looking for right now. So, how would anyone who has that analytical skill, the person can read and write and do all this basic stuff and speak to people, how
Right.
do they pass that those technical barriers basically that that have been put there, knowing that I'm not technical?
It's a great question. Again, it's all based on the experience.
Yeah,
No one is actually hiring exclusively a technical person, and if you really ask me, you will see a variety of roles out in the market, right? You could see
yeah,
a business analyst. At the same time, you will see another designation right after that as a business systems analyst, now
exactly.
techno-functional analyst. At times, people call you as a requirements engineer, or at
Yeah.
times they call you as a requirements analyst, right? So these are all the fancy titles enterprises will give you. But
Mm,
one thing I want you to understand here is what is your skill set and how can you contribute towards the enterprise scope, right?
mm,
If your skill set is business analysis, which means your requirement solicitation, documentation, and making sure that your testing teams are understanding those requirements and you have the right baseline documents in time, right? Similar way, requirements engineer does the same thing. A techno-functional analyst, this is where I want to emphasize a little bit on. And
yeah.
to answer your question, yes, technology is important, but technology is not everything.
Mm,
Yeah, it is important if you know SQL or if you know a specific product or if you know a variety of skill set, right? It that is what will give you that 1% or the 10% edge when compared to the other people.
yeah.
If your future employer is looking for that skill set, if
Yes.
they're exclusively looking for a business analyst who can understand, if you see most of the requirements, people will never ask you mandatorily you need to have. You have to have certainly, yes, mandatory skill sets are your business analysis experience,
Mm,
but good to have is if you are a tech savvy, good
yeah.
to have if you know SQL, good to have if you know data governance, right?
Yeah.
So these are all the things, these are the additional attributes to you. But irrespective of that, you can learn, you can build your base using the business analysis skill set, and then on top of it you learn anything, whether it is a governance or whether it is privacy or whether it is service management or whether it is content management or salesforce or any crm products, right? There are a variety of applications. Now one question you always have to ask yourself is, do I have the right skill set and what am I going to analyze? And if you
Awesome.
don't know what you're going to analyze, there's a problem too, right?
Awesome.
So we
Yeah.
will we will address that problem at the beginning and
Yeah.
you'll get to go.
I'm so excited because of what you said. Like, so basically, for you to be a business analyst, you should have the core skill sets. So
Right.
that all business analyst skill sets, and then if you want to now specialize, say you want to be a business analyst or a data analyst, data governance, you now specialize. However, the core of you as a business analyst are those basic things about, speaking to people, documenting,
Right.
right? Able to understand the business needs, having the business acumen.
Right.
Basically, why does this business exist, right? What are the key revenue drivers, right? And what are the things that are aligned? What are the things that are aligned to the business goals, the visions, of the business? This is
Right.
fantastic. All right. Okay. So what if I'm a technical person, right? I've
Mhm.
been technical all my life. I'm, that guy who's always my head is, inside the black school for a lot of years, and I want to become a business analyst. I want to move out of being the tech guy to being the business analyst. I like what business analysts do. I kind of envy what they do because I
Right.
work with my projects. How can I move away from being that technical guy to actually being the business analyst and really speaking the business terms as well?
That is a fantastic question. Now, the transformation always happens and it's always bi-directional. You're a functional resource, you can learn the technical expertise and you can become a techno-functional guy. Vice
Yeah.
versa, you are in the technical role, you've been forever as a SQL developer or some XYZ developer, or whatever the technology platform you're working on. And over the period of time, you've been having those discussions with your analysts and with your business partners. You're trying to acquire and learning that business acumen, right? So that's what will give you the edge. And at the same time, remember, whether a functional guy becomes a technical, vice versa, a technical resource becomes a functional, we will still call you as a techno-functional.
Yeah.
Right? So the agenda is going to be the same, but now you are in a less dependent state wherein there are certain answers. For example, I'll give you a scenario as an analyst, as a pure business analyst, as a pure techno-functional analyst, right? So how it helps enterprises or why they prefer, if given an opportunity, to hire a techno-functional guy with solid business analysis background. Let's
Yeah.
assume I'm in a discussion, having a conversation with one of my business stakeholders, and then they have a specific set of requirements. And if you're all pretty much aware of Agile and the way we function in the iterative way, right? Kind of
Yeah.
a rapid development we try to deliver.
Mhm.
In this rapid, incremental fashion, when you're trying to deliver the solutions, you have a business team or a stakeholder. They wanted to come in and they want to change the scope of it.
Yeah.
The first question we ask is, hey, can I first of all address that particular scope? Answer is yes. Yes, you can certainly go ahead and address it. Now, the second question is how, right? Now, if they started asking you questions, say, Sowmya, these are the requirements. Do you know how much time it's going to take? Are there any technical challenges? If I'm a pure analyst, I might not be able to answer that. I would
Yeah.
say, you know what, let me defer to that. Or let me bring in my technical resource. Let them comment on that question, even though it's a quick answer, right? But if
Yeah.
I'm a techno-functional guy, I'm pretty sure I will have that answer at that particular moment. Now, you might not feel the difference, but from an enterprise point of view, your time is directly proportional to money,
Yes.
right? Because you are saving probably a 1 or 2 business days, because you have to go back to your technology team, make them understand what are all the new challenges and changes are, and then get a proper estimate or a high level estimate, and then go back to the business and tell them. But if you are a techno-functional resource, if you have the right skill set, you can answer that question in that meeting itself. That's saving 40 hours of a business time, right?
Yeah.
Nothing but money. So if you
Yeah.
can save money, you can be that. So this is how I call business analysts as. At times, I see ourselves as superheroes. Yeah, we play a role. We support product owners. We support business teams. We support our testing teams. We support our testers. We make them understand what the needs are. We validate. We do the peer reviews, right? We groom the product backlogs if necessary. We write the user stories, and then we also facilitate the UATs.
Mm.
And we'll also work with the production teams to get the things done. So you're certainly a Superman for me. Maybe a Spider-Man or a He-Man.
There's this presentation I do about studying the current business analysis, and on one of the slides I have the Power Rangers, and I have one of them. I said, "This is the Power Business Analyst," and of course, she's a female Power Ranger on that.
Right.
And I'm like, "That's what we are. We're powerful people, right?" Because
Very powerful people, yes.
one person to be able to do all those things, on the technical side, on the business side, you have to be a superhuman, basically. So BAs are definitely superhumans. But I really love, what you said with regards to, whether you're a technical person moving into, the business analyst role, really understanding the business terms, having that business knowledge, and really understanding your industry too.
Right.
You can leverage that industry knowledge and experience to move into business analyst role. So
Mhm.
tell me, early in your career, what were the things that helped you? You're an accidental business analyst. You were given that opportunity. the first time you went for that interview. So, and that was years ago. So what were the things that really helped you? Now I know you used to write, so you're good with documentation, and you like to speak to people. So you had those two skills already. But what are some other things that really helped you grow in your career?
There are a variety of things, right? Of course, writing and talking to the people gives you a broader perspective. But at
Yeah,
the same time, the other skill sets, what I personally feel a good business analyst should have is one, the time management and the allocation, right? For example, when I was started, right, I was like super excited. Oh wow, this is great, right? I'm doing something, and
yeah,
based on my kind of work, there is a lot of delivery happening. Now, I used to say yes to people a lot, and then within an year, I realized the problem in me is saying yes.
yeah.
You need to learn when to say no,
No?
and then keep those short-term goals to try to achieve it. And the
Yeah,
reason I say the yes and no is at times, without we knowing it, we overflow the work. We try to accept the additional work on our shoulders as an analyst. Now, someone comes in from your team, hey, can you write some test cases for me? The answer is yes. We will never say no, right? Hey, can you help me to understand a specific functional spec so that
uh,
we can groom the backlog in a better way? I'll
yeah,
say, I don't say no, right?
yeah,
So, but you certainly have to learn at some stage, and when that is not your specific skill set. Now,
yeah,
because you're focusing on one specific area, make sure that we are delivering it in a right fashion.
yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's very cool, especially when you're early in your career, you're trying to show up as I can do my job, I can do this, and I can serve everyone. But the truth is, as a business analyst, you need to be able to say no sometimes to
Right. Yeah.
your sponsor, right? But say it, but when you're saying no, be able to justify and let them know why you're saying no to that at that point in time,
Right. Uh,
right? Hmm.
like I said, it's a give and take relationship, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
understand what they want, but remember, our precedence and our preference is always business, right?
yeah,
Because
sure,
we are there to make sure we are addressing their needs. If
exactly,
the priorities changes, yes, your approach has to change,
for
and
sure.
so that's why I say you have to have a pinch of patience along with a little common sense too, right?
Yeah,
That is something you do not want it, then they don't want it, and
yeah,
what they want it is something we always try now find that one additional player. If you ever noticed, right? If most of you here, I'm not sure what countries you're all from, but if you know the game called cricket or soccer or football, right? We always have that extra players in the team. There is
yes,
a reason, because there is an uncertainty in your in your needs. Now, anything can happen at any time. That's why we have that additional players. That's nothing but in business analysis concept. Maybe you can connect to that. We
for
call it as gold plating, right?
yeah,
So when you do gold plating, which means your business is asking only maybe like 5%, and as a provider, you might have better requirements to give it to them, and you do not just want to voice it out. You might want to work with your teams to build it out and save it for the end. And when the people come in, hey, you asked me this, we are giving this along with that, are you okay to consider these, right? Now again, I come from a little entrepreneur background, so I can even sell products and enhancements to customers. But
okay,
like I said, that's kind of the world we all live in, right?
right,
Everyone wants the best, and if
yeah,
best is coming at a price, and people are okay to pay the price and procure the best.
yes. So someone asked this question. The person said, "So I want to move into a business analyst role, right?
Right.
But I've never just had that title of business analyst.
Mm-hmm.
That title as business title, or my role has never been business analyst at XYZ company. What do I do? How do I move into the business analyst role without having that title? Because that's what a lot of people get stuck with making this transition.
No, I have a right answer for this, right? So, I know, we spoke about this. I have, like I have mentored a little over 1,200 to 1,300 people over the last decade, right?
Yeah,
And I've worked with the people who are probably working in restaurants as waiters. I
Wow.
worked with the people who are Uber drivers. Now, one of
Wow.
my Uber driver works for me right now.
How interesting.
Yes, yes. I met a gentleman while I was in middle of planning to buy a car, and I really like his ethics. The way he followed up with me, and then I asked him a question, dude, why can't you just come into IT? Now, you can make more money. That's secondary, but more
Mhm.
of it, your skill set is a right match. Why can't you just explore the stuff? Now, what I'm trying to tell you here is, it's not about the title. You don't have it. It is all about the role you are having it. Now I'll go back to that waiter, for example. Now, if you are a waiter, if there is a customer in your restaurant, the first thing you do is, do you want cold water, or do you want ice water, or you want a bottled water? Is that the first question you ask? Right? I mean, if I'm a waiter, if I'm ever be in a service industry,
Yeah.
if I have a customer, that's the first question I ask when they come in. And then I try to take an order. It doesn't mean that I'm going to go back into the kitchen, cook the same, and bring it back to them. Nope. I only take an order, but I
Mhm.
pass it to my chef or to my kitchen, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's where your business analysis skill sets comes into the picture, wherein
Yes.
you are the middle person, right? You are liaising between your customer and your kitchen. Now connect the same thing into your IT. You are
Yeah.
going to liaison between your business and your technology stakeholders. How you do it is what your business analysis skill set is all about.
Wow. Okay. So that analogy is like so. I've never heard that analogy before. But, like a waiter, taking the order from the customer and taking it to the chef and saying this person wants steak, medium rare with mashed potatoes and a
Right.
side of asparagus. Right. That's
Yeah,
what
exactly.
make it. It's going to be ready in 30 minutes for you, Mr. Customer. And you go back to the kitchen, you take out that plate and you serve that customer. And then, every 5 minutes they're coming to ask, are you good? Are we good here? Do you need anything? How's the food today? And do you need extra water? Do you need juice? That's really what a business analyst does. The middleman between business and technology.
That
The
is
business
correct.
thinks we want to launch this new product, or they say we're trying to improve our process, right?
Right.
Uh, say we want to reduce costs this year. Our goal is to reduce our costs, so we want to save. And then you go back to meet the technology people. Well, this is the business right now. What can we do?
Mm-hmm.
And then you work with the technical team as well to see how we can improve things. Wow. Okay. And you go back to the business. We've done this. What's the feedback? Is it, you're carrying out solution evaluation? How is it performing? Doing well for you right now? What are the changes? Can we test it? Awesome. Hmm.
Exactly. That's a right analogy. That's why I always tell people, keep it simple.
Yeah,
Keep it,
exactly.
keep it very simple, because this is the line of profession where I feel, if you are a starter, or even though you're a practicing analyst, there's always opportunity and scope for someone to learn and get into the next stage, right?
Yeah.
And then whatever the background you come from, I see a question also coming out there that someone, Ashwini, I think you have asked the question, where you're coming from a finance background, you're
Yeah.
interested to get into BA. How do I start, and how do I know I'm qualified to become a BA? My
Yeah.
first question for you is, Ashwini, if you're ever a good cook, and if you cooked at your home, and if you have guests and you have ever served to them, if they say, yes, this is good,
Mm.
you can become a BA, which means you understood their needs and you did that. Now,
Yeah.
all you have to understand now is, with your finance background, how can I become a financial BA?
Financial being.
Or how can I learn business analysis skill set? Remember, guys, whether you're a finance BA, or a regulatory BA, or an insurance BA, or a business analyst working in the healthcare space, or regulatory compliances, or banking, whatever that platform you choose, whatever the domain you want to get into, or you're like, I don't care whatever the domain I want to get into, I just
Yeah.
want to get into IT as a BA. First thing you need to learn is understand the acumen, improve your business analysis skill set. Like I said, the title itself says everybody is a business analyst, which is absolutely true, but there
Yeah.
is a darker side to it. You just need to polish the darker side with the right acumen. That's all you have to do.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. Polish the skill set. You already have it. It's innate in you.
Right.
Um, my conversation yesterday, we were saying, it's innate in you already. So how can I enhance the business analysis skill set? Right?
Right.
How can I be a better BA? Okay, awesome. So let's move into say, I now know I have what it takes to be a business analyst, and then I move into a business analyst role, and I work as a functional BA for a while, and then I want to, sort of specialize. So you've moved, from, being, a core business analyst and then an
Right.
agile BA, and then from agile, you're now more into data. So let's talk about, specialization. I'm a business analyst, but I know that I want to specialize. How can I know, what would be best? Like, what's the right skill set for me? I've done several types of projects. How do I know, what kind of specialization I should have, as a business analyst? How do I go about
Again, it is subjective. Now you can start from a variety of places. You
it?
can start from starting somewhere. At times you can be a junior BA, and
Yeah,
from there you learn the analysis. You're supporting your BA managers, probably in facilitating some discussions or writing some requirements or being part of a UAT sessions, etc. But
yeah,
over a period of time, what happens? There's one good thing as a business analyst, you will never do, or your day will never be the same for a week,
for
right?
sure.
For, for a specific sprint, if you take it,
Yeah,
every day is different,
every
right?
day is different. That's why I
That-
love it.
that's something new you'll always learn. Now,
Yeah,
when going back to your questions on what sort of specialization you needed, it is
yeah,
purely based on a business decision,
yeah,
because learning business analysis skill set, or it's all about presentation, right? Now I'm able to talk in front of you in the business analysis skill set because I've been practicing it for a little over a decade, and then
yeah,
I know what we do as a BA. I'm
yeah.
very sure who are all on this call, right? At one stage, you have done a similar role. Now, what you have to do is present it out and
Yes,
then learn on a daily basis. Have your own running notes. That's what
yeah.
I tell people. Always document something new you will learn. But over a period of time, what happens? All your running notes becomes your own knowledge base,
Mm,
right? That's how you build things. That's how
yeah,
hey, I built a specific template with an XYZ company. How can I make it better in the future? What are all the things I can add? Try to think out of the box. There's nothing wrong. Whether you the least thing can happen is you will fail. That's fine. We will learn from our failure and then
yeah,
we'll do the right things next.
yes, yes, for sure.
Yep.
For sure. I really like that. So even your approach to work, the way you carry out your business analysis work,
Right.
you can learn and then improve on that as well.
Right. That's true.
Yeah. So let's talk about, data management, so moving into data and data governance. For someone who is interested in this path of, data
Mhm.
governance, data management and all that, how can I move into this path? Do I have to be like a data analyst first before I can be a data governance professional? Because I know you sit on the board right now, as an advisor on the board. So how can I move into this field? If I'm already a BA, I have the existing BA skills. However, I want to move into data governance. How do I do this?
You know, uh, I'll keep it very simple.
Of course, always.
At the one stage, you have to have that love with data, right?
Yeah.
When you understand it, so there's a difference between the information you gather and the intelligence you build out of that information. If
Hmm.
someone can understand that, I have a lot of data with me, but what do I do with it? Can
Yeah.
I build some information out of it and then have some intelligent decisions out of that information I have? The answer is yes. If you have that mindset, if you think I see some value in the data space, whether you can be a data analyst, but again, one thing for us to understand here, right? A business analyst and a data analyst, the both are analysts.
Of
You,
course.
you are engaging your business partners, performing a variety of activities, and your data analysts are doing a similar things, but in the technology front, right?
Sure.
Might be working with the databases or with some physical dictionaries, cataloging or bringing in a lot of data in, and then playing around with that info. Two different things altogether.
Yeah.
But if you think at one stage, the love towards the data has happened in your career, then you will start looking at the broader picture. Right?
Yeah.
That's what happened to me. Now, it happened to me in 2011, and there was this company called Calibra. So I was working for an institute based out of London called COLT Telecommunications.
Okay.
And they were like, they only do B2B business. If you understand what's B2B, it's called business to business. And
Yeah.
you have C2C and B2C, etc. Business
Yeah.
to customer and a customer to customer, right? So when someone does B2B, which means you build some products, you only sell it to the businesses.
Yes.
You're not going to get into retail. That's what Cold's business is, right? And they procured the world's first data governance platform that's called Calibra. What they want to do with that is they want to build and manage their metadata using the product. Now, there comes the question. Now, I procured the product. Now, because this profession was kind of a brand new back in the days, it's almost 9 years ago. Then, who can I hire to get this particular thing implemented?
Yes.
Where they thought if we can bring in a business analyst who has that out of the box thought process, you can learn it quick and you can start supporting towards that initiative. That's how I started. That's when my journey with data governance and metadata management started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is I don't have to be technical to be a data governance professional. I don't have to
Now,
be technical.
I mean, at one point, yes. At one point, you need to understand that if someone coming to you and asking you, hey, do you know how AWS functions? Do you know what are the cloud platforms you catalog? Yes, you certainly need to know the acumen in the metadata management space. But
Yeah.
long story short, that fixes a variety of things for you.
Yeah. Wow.
But not
It's
on the day one, right? No one will ask you these questions on a day one. If they know that you are coming from a business analysis background. So my suggestion is work as a BA for a couple of years, right? At least 1 or 2 years. So you'll understand the business as a whole. And when
yes.
you understand business as a whole, then you will start looking into a variety of things which you haven't even thought about it in the past. The best example, you know, does the same thing. Before we start a project, there are a variety of activities do happen, and I call them pre-project activities, right? A pre-project activities are such as we need to understand who are all the stakeholders part of the project.
Sure.
Prior to that, maybe you perform your enterprise analysis to see what sort of business model your employer or your future client or your future customer is going to be in, or they are in already, right? And then you perform your gap analysis on what do they want to do and where are they today.
Mhm.
And then your sales team comes into the picture. If someone is trying to sell a product to them or a service, right, you will write your proposals. Someone will ask you, I know does an amazing job in the analysis. I want to hire her, or I want to hire some of her students. Now, can I put a proposal to her? Yes. Now, how do I write the proposal? Right. So that's where your business development teams, do play a role. So when you start working with these guys, you'll understand a variety of aspects towards, about your enterprise, and
Yeah.
then you got some response to the proposals, and then we finalize someone, and then there is an SOW you put together. It stands for statement of work. That's when you really kickstart the project. That's when an analyst or your developers or your project managers or your resource managers, all these folks will come into the play. In the good old days, a way of saying it, it's all called planning, analysis, you design, development, testing, and a small sub process in testing. It's called UAT, and
Yeah.
then you do the deployments, and then finally you get into a maintenance phase. But
Yeah.
if you do the same thing in a shorter period of time, that's called agile.
Yes, for sure. Yes, for sure. I love how you really simplify it and break it down in a way that it's really easy to understand. And like you said, keep it simple. A lot of people want to complicate things. A lot of people want to become business analysts, but they want to learn everything. They want to know everything. You just
Right.
learn all the technology. No one can say, "Oh, I know all the technology
Right.
and
Yeah.
code and all that stuff." that doesn't make you a business analyst. You just want to be technical, and you're not keeping it simple, right? You're trying to make things more complex for yourself, and at the end of the day, you say, "Oh, this business analysis is too hard. I can't do it." I've
Right.
heard people say that. They say it's too hard. I'm like, it's too hard. Like this is so easy.
That is very true.
Yeah,
This is all about, right? It's not rocket science for sure. And
yeah,
rocket science being explored by a variety of people in a far deeper space. This is
yeah,
all common sense and good communication skills.
for
That's
sure.
all I look into. If you want to become a great BA, all you need to have is those two attributes for sure. Now
Yes,
understand what you have at hand and how can you go from point A to point B,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
sure. So Jaya has a question. Says, I've come out of the hotel school now in the US, pursuing a career in IT. How can I use business analysis in the hospitality and aviation industry and use agile principles in these industries? So,
It is a very fascinating question, Saujanya.
it is.
All right. So if you are in the hotel management, let me understand that.
Yeah.
Even though you learn the hotel management per se, it's nothing but the hospitality, that
Mhm.
your hospitality also runs on some applications or systems. So even though
Yeah.
you understand how to cater to your customers, what to take and what not to, you certainly have to have an application in place to support and automate all your business functions, right? So your analysis skill set will help you at that time, whether it is aviation industry. Even though you are in aviation industry, probably one of the high risk industries, right? So you certainly have to have softwares and systems in place that will monitor, engage, and keeps your back office team in contact with the people who are actually in the flights or working or traveling, etc. Right? So think about that. How many systems have to function? How many applications do run in a real-time basis, and how do they run? Now, if you ask all these basic questions about your own industry, you will start finding gaps. You don't find answers. Trust me, you don't find answers. You will find gaps. Your job is to bridge those gaps. If you can start bridging those gaps, that will become, that's how you get to your answers, right? And once you're there, you shall be able to connect the dots and see, okay, this is how this entire process functions. This is what they expect as part of these applications. Now, who is responsible to build these applications? How are they getting those requirements? Who are giving those requirements? Who is documenting them? These are a variety of questions you need to ask yourself. And before you get into that thought process and explore and learn things, you certainly need to understand the analysis skill set or acquire that skill set, start using that skill set to ask questions. There's a famous saying, we have 6 W's, right? I'm pretty sure talks about it in her sessions. Now you'll talk about what, you talk about who, you talk about why, you talk about where,
Mhm.
and then there is one more W. We call it, that's the how part of it, right? Now there is a W in HOW, how. Maybe that's why they call it 5 Ws. But that's how I see things, right? Ask
Yeah.
ask all these W's and then try to get any topic you take, right? Whether you're doing an application enhancement, ask the 6 W's. Why are we doing it? How are we doing it? What is the need, right? Who are responsible to deliver it, and who are going to use this, right?
Yes,
So
for
getting
sure.
into yeah.
So, there's something I always teach my students. I say, whenever you're in a situation, if you're a business analyst who's, you've read through the map of the idea, they have the core concept model. So
Right,
it's basically 6 concepts that help you ask these questions. So, what is the need? What is the change?
right,
What's the solution to this change? Who are my stakeholders? Who are the stakeholders on this project?
right,
Right? And then what's the value? What's the value to my stakeholders right now? And then
right,
of course, what's the context? What's the context of this change?
right,
This initiative that I'm working in as a business analyst. When you're able to ask these questions, you
right,
definitely get an answer in every situation, no matter how stuck you are. Whether you're new in the project or you're old, you're coming in at the beginning or halfway or at the end, once you're able to ask these questions, you're able to answer it, right? And then you get, like you said, you always find the gap. You always find the gaps all the time. You're not going to find the solution. You find the gap, and then that's where your work starts as a business analyst.
That's absolutely correct.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Mr. Jaya. So there's this question. So I'm a business analyst, and I've been in one domain. I'm in the finance domain, and I want to work in other industries. So you have worked in several industries.
I did, yes.
Payment to banking to IT to consulting. You name it. You say you've been there basically. So how am I able to leverage my skill set to move from one domain to another, confidently without being scared? I've always worked in finance. How can I move to aviation? How can I move to, entertainment, or how can I move to healthcare? So you've done,
Yes, I am. Yes, I did actually. Yeah.
different domains. So how can business analysts do this? Someone who wants to do this, but the person is sort of scared.
See, it's pretty, again, it's all about two types of people in the world.
Yeah.
One who just want to stick with one and keep doing the same.
Yeah.
There are second type of people who just want to hop in and hop out in a variety of places and see what excites them most, or they want to keep doing the same thing. So when I first started my career, I started into home loans, right, with Countrywide Financial Corporation. And eventually I became a Bank of America employee. I was with bank for quite some time. But while I was doing it, I understood a process gap in KYC with the bank. So I moved from this department. I moved into the core banking division of BOA. From there, I realized, I think I got bored with Bank of America. Let me just explore something new. Then I started consulting. Then I worked for PwC, and I worked in the finance space too. So it's a completely new thing. We implemented SAP, AP and AR. It stands for accounts payables and accounts receivables.
Yes.
Right? I love the concept of money, so that's something that excited me. So I was like, okay, this is very good, and I love to understand how enterprises build charters and what sort of analysis I can perform. So I got into PwC. This is very good, and I started thinking about myself, right? Now, if I understand banking and about understand finance, now let me understand the concept of how countries, right? Countries like United States, India, or pick any country, UK or Switzerland. How do they rate their citizens with the kind of money they have in hand? That's where the concept of credit reporting came into the picture. So we have Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. These are the three major credit bureaus in America.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is great. Now let me drop everything and let me explore a project with TransUnion. So I went to TransUnion from there. So I worked for TransUnion just to understand, how they build all these programs and etc. So I was with TransUnion for quite some time. Then ANZ Bank came into the picture. Now we are all doing this with the royalties and other stuff. Now we want to build a royalty management platform. And I was working for a consulting firm. I was lucky enough that I could say I was blessed that I was hop into multiple projects. So I took another project with Australia and New Zealand Bank. Now that's where they were building a royalty management platform. Now, it's as simple as that. You have a credit card, you swipe it, you accrue 10 points, right? Or let's say if you spent $10, you got 10 points. At one period of time, you have accrued 40,000, 50,000 points, right? Now, how do you redeem them? What are the options you can provide it to your customers? Pretty basic concept, but certainly someone has to come in and put requirements for the rules engine behind it, right? So that's the kind of analysis you perform. And then I jumped into telecom. I worked for COLT. That's where my love with data started. And then data governance and metadata management was very fascinating concepts. Then I started exploring them. Then I moved to the United States. I worked for Cisco for quite some time in California. And then I came to the East Coast to work for Fannie Mae. And then I went to New York, worked for JP Morgan and Chase for almost a year. And then I went back to Fannie again just to finish the unfinished work, what I left off, and as a consultant. And then I worked for Wells Fargo. And parallelly, I was supporting DTCC. And then I went to work for Royal Bank of Canada From there, I went to Harvard. So I worked at Harvard for quite some time. And
Yeah.
then I went back and worked for media. Media is another big thing in America. So I
Mhm.
wanted to explore NBC Universal, or at least got an opportunity to work for them. So I
Yeah.
took that, and then I was with them till early this year.
Yeah.
And right now it's all COVID. So I want to see how we are leveraging metadata from the backend, building data sets, performing analysis on it, and supporting the research. So I'm currently with AstraZeneca, which is one of the leader in the COVID research, coming
Yeah.
up with a couple of drugs. So we're building data sets for them. So these data sets helps the users within AstraZeneca or the business partners to understand the research related activities, and the information is going above and beyond.
Yeah. So basically, all you have to do is just leverage your business analysis skill set, whatever domain or industry you move into. Your business analysis skill set will change, and your core skills they will change. It will simply just okay. The domain has changed, the solution has changed, the stakeholders have changed, the context has changed, the need has changed.
Right. Like I said, wherever you go, you still use your core business analysis skill set. You might be in a directorial role, you might be in a senior manager role, or any role you are in. You're still rooted to managing people. It's still
Yeah,
a Elysian role, right? You manage them and you talk to your seniors. You connect the dots. It's still a
yeah,
business analysis for me.
yeah. So, for someone who says, oh, well, I've been in the medical field, like I had someone message me and say, oh, well, I've been a nurse,
Uh huh.
right? But I've always fancied business analysis. Someone asked that, I've been a nurse, but I've always fancied business analysis. Can I be a business analyst when I've always been medical? How can
Yes, yes, yes. You just need to know what is the connecting dot, right? There are always dots around you. You are this person. You worked in medical field and a variety of things. Now, all you have to ask yourself is, what are the applications these enterprises are using and who are building it?
yeah,
Find where that opportunity is and go knock on the door you are in.
exactly what I said. Well, the hospital in itself is an organization. So there's business processes and business rules. There's technology and infrastructure that's being used. So your exposure and being an end user of this already gives you the leverage to actually become a business analyst because
Right.
as a user, you really understand the gaps. You know what can be improved upon, and you can leverage that to actually get a business analyst role. So basically, take some training, take some courses, increase your business analysis skill set, learn, get coached or mentored if you need to. And then what I also share with people is, find someone who's kind of gone through the same path as you. So if I were her, who's been a nurse, I would look out for people who are doctors or nurses,
Right.
then business analysts, and sort of seek mentorship from them.
Right.
You do this because I've met a lot of doctors who are project managers.
That's
Here
right.
in North America,
We have my entire family is all doctors. I'm the only engineer.
yeah,
No, so that's how the things happen. Even in the medical field, people, you're still an analyst too. Even
yeah,
though you're a doctor, for me, you're an analyst. You're just trying to understand, what's my problem and trying to find a solution if you can, or you're gonna talk to your peers and colleagues and try to find it, right? So that's the reason I always tell people we are all an analyst by born, by birth. It's
yeah,
just that how you polish the right acumen, what it requires, so that once you have that right business acumen, that is what we're going to fetch you a job. At the end of the day, you're doing this. I want this to be your profession, and
yeah,
if you want to take or consider this as your profession, you certainly have to understand acumen and start walk the talk. Let me put it in that way.
for
Walk the
sure,
talk, right?
for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting to our last question. So, modeling skills. Are modeling skills key skills for people? So, I've been in business and I don't have this modeling skills, right? I keep seeing
Right.
modeling on job descriptions. Are those key skills for me to become a business analyst?
So I'm going to rephrase your question, Ina. Are you asking are modeling skills are critical to be
Business.
successful as a business analyst?
Yes.
My answer is yes. Yes, modeling skills are important. Now, modeling comes at a variety of stages, right?
Yes.
Whether, for example, if you all heard about the good old concepts of UML, right? So we used to call it unified modeling language. So language which enables you to speak with your technical stakeholders in a visual format,
Yeah.
right? Now think about it. Over the period of time, it transitioned into a variety of things. If you really go and ask the analyst today, have you ever modeled a class diagram or a use case diagram or any other diagram? Their answer is, heard about use cases, but I wrote use cases. I never modeled a use case. So for me, if you really ask me, it's all about process. Have a good process flow and let the process flow speak the entire thing.
Yeah.
So if you have hands-on experience using a tool called Microsoft Visio,
Yeah.
you can use any tool out in the market.
Of course, there's a lot of them.
Yes, yes, but Visio is the best if you really ask me. It has a variety of modules within that you can explore, try to design. You can do mock-ups. You can do typical skeletons using Visio. You can build process flows, flow charts, any sort of UML diagram. You can even build it using Microsoft Visio. But
Yeah.
remember, you are more of a business analyst, and modeling and visual representations are equally important when you see. There's a famous saying, right? An image is speaks far better than 100 lines of or sentences or paragraphs you write.
Sure.
When you
Yeah.
have that image speaking, you're just voicing it out everything at one place. All you
Mhm.
do is you try to explain it in
Yeah.
detail so that your tech stakeholders will understand. But for business, that image speaks everything.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. All right. So, the final question. Well, I just wanted to share something. So, when people ask me, "Oh, it's not like me," I did
Mhm.
study tech. Like I never studied computer science or engineering. But have you been able to thrive in tech? So I told people that as a business analyst, I do have to know everything. You need to have like the right set of people around you to have the right technical team, to your developers, your solution architects, your database analysts, like everybody, have the right people around you and be able to leverage the relationship with them and be able to make sure that you have everybody on board with decision making, with planning. That would help you, with your goal. You don't have to do everything because, when people say, "Oh, I don't have the skill and that skill and that," I'm like, well, you don't need all that. You
Right,
need all those technical skills, basically,
right,
right? And the thing is, as you grow in your career, you start to learn more about, databases and then more about, architecture. You learn more about programming, and then, with your interaction, you just tend to learn all these things, and then you can start speaking the jargons, and
right,
when they're talking about technical things, you can understand. Or however, as a business analyst, like you said, is basically, being able to communicate with both sides, implement it, and ensure that you're getting feedback, if the solution, is actually working and doing what you said you would do,
right.
right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been so interesting. So interesting. I was really excited, about this topic because, it's something where people ask me, like, can I really do it? I want to be a business analyst. I don't know how to. I'm not sure if I am a business analyst, but I hope that this has really been clear to a lot of people. Our conversation so far regards to the fact that everyone is for a business analyst.
Yeah. Yep. I second you there, Rina.
Just need to
That-
polish, the skills. So I'd like you to leave, your final comments, with us, and then of course with the viewers. We have people join from Canada, from Nigeria and Lagos, and also Ontario, Edmonton, and USA. So and India as well. So tell me, what would be your final message for people, before we leave, with regards to everybody being a business analyst.
So my final thoughts are pretty simple. If you are seeking a career and you would want some adrenaline in it, some excitement you want on a daily basis, and something you want to do, you have to love your profession, right? So that's what business analysis is. And I know, most of you are in good hands with but at the same time, like as I mentioned earlier, you already have that skill set. It's just that you just need to come out, start talking about your skill set in a right fashion. Learn that the way you have to present yourself. That's the key to be a successful business analyst.
Exactly.
That's my last thought. Yeah.
Exactly. I really like that. You said the key is, being able to, present yourself. I talk about the way you also brand yourself. The way you present
Absolutely. This is applicable for every profession, in right. So at one stage, what it happens, it's not about what you know. It is always about, especially in interviews. If you really ask me, a lot of people come to me, and then I'm very sure they come
yeah,
to you and ask the same question. Hey, I have all these great skills, but I'm still not getting a job. Why? The answer is in your question. You are not presenting it in a right fashion, dear. Right?
exactly.
So learn that skill set on how. So you are the master of your own story. So make sure your story is right, your story is accurate, and keep some humor in it. If you really ask me, those are the things I can tell you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Presenting and and speaking at the interview. I tell people, one, communicate your value. Your value at the interview. Two, be a solution provider. Let your hiring manager see that, okay, this person is going to provide solutions. This person is a great analyst, right?
Right. Right. Yeah.
Two things are very key. With you, an interview and moving into the business analyst. Wow.
Right.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much, Sowmya. It's been great. Thank you for the people who joined us: Victoria, Emmanuel, Blessing, Debbie, Stella, Tibe, Tosin, Karim, Buki, Mukhtar. Thank you so much for joining us. I really had fun with this. Thank you so much, Sowmya.
My
Um,
pleasure, Amy. Thank you so much for having me as well.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure. Thank you for joining us. And to everyone who joined us on the stream today, thank you so much. So we'll be speaking tomorrow about job search. So join us tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. We're talking about job search for professionals as well. On that note, it's bye from me and Sowmya. Bye.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good rest of the day.
Bye.
Bye bye.